He went the extra mile for us. He gave his life for us. He paid the price for us. He ransomed us. We are important to him. We are the apple of his eye. We're taking stuff off of people that God has never required us to take off of them.
I came to talk to somebody that has experienced trauma in the midst of transition. I came to prophesy to you that you are not in trouble. You are in transition, and this is transforming your life. I know it doesn't look good. I know it doesn't feel good. I know that what you see right now is not making sense to your mind, but I'm here to let you know, according to Romans 8 and 28, that all things work together. I came to let you know today that the good, the bad, the indifferent, and the ugly, it all works together for your good. I came to decree in this house that this is where our story turns.
Hey guys, welcome to the Lioness Den. We are so glad you chose to join us today. Look, today is filled with a group of power-packed females who are entrepreneurs. If you're out there, you're planning to start a business, you're doing something you call your side hustle, stop what you're doing right now and listen and take notes on what is about to be shared with you about entrepreneurship. Look, today we have some awesome women who are not only entrepreneurs, but they're preachers, teachers, prayer warriors, hairdressers, coaches. They are the bomb in entrepreneurship. So I want you guys to sit back, relax, take your pen out, take notes, and get ready to go higher, go further, go longer in your journey to entrepreneurship. Here we go. We're going into the Lioness Den. Hey everybody, look, thank you for being here on the Lioness Den. We have a great show today. We have Coach Nya and Smalls with us today. We also have Lady Lenyar Robinson. Guys, this is going to be a great day today. So I want you to get your pens and papers out, like, subscribe, join the conversation, and let's get into it. Today we have Coach Nya and Smalls. I am a big fan of hers. And I'm not going to prolong this introduction because I want you to hear all of the great stuff that she has to share with us. So without further ado, here we have Coach Nya Small. Hi, Coach Nya.
Hello, hello, hello.
Look, we are so appreciative that you're here with us today. Our theme for this month has been entrepreneurship and becoming an entrepreneur. And I've known you, well, I don't know if I want to say I've known you. I've followed you for a while now, and you're very inspiring. And I wanted everyone else to talk to someone who was on this journey of entrepreneurship. You've experienced both sides. So I'd like to start off talking about your journey from the work world, being an employee, to being a full-time entrepreneur. Can you tell us something about that, please?
Absolutely. So first, thank you so much for having me today. It is truly an honor to be with you. And it's an honor to be followed by you. So thank you so much. My journey, let's see, I would say it has started maybe over the last 7 to 8 years. Before I recently took the full leap of shifting into full-time entrepreneurship, I was still working my businesses as a side, I don't want to call it hustle, but as a side job to my full-time corporate America job. I was also, very active in ministry. So I've been pastoring for 10 years in September. But beyond that, I was in ministry, in leadership prior to that. And so between ministry, my corporate America job, and then trying to develop my t-shirt business. At one point, I was very heavy on, promoting my t-shirts, in addition to the prayer call that I do. It was never my plan to be a full-time entrepreneur. Just, transparently speaking, when I first, married my late husband, back in 2010, my goal was to work in corporate America to get him into full-time ministry. And that was my intention. But when you're serving God and when you're moving in purpose and things begin to shift in your life and your purpose begins to be revealed even more, it's like your plans go out the window. And so over these last 5 years, just to speed the story up, I sensed a great need to be full-time ministry, full-time business. My travel schedule was picking up, and just, traveling to the job. My commute was like an hour one way. And then, the pandemic happened. And when I started working from home during the pandemic, that really showed me what it would be like to work from home. And I absolutely loved it. And so I saw that my businesses, as I was, also working my businesses on the side, revenue was picking up. Everything was picking up to the point where I said, okay, God, it looks like I could shift and do this full time, but I didn't want to do it, just off of the whim and just blindly. And so it was a strategic move, but it was a move that was necessary as I saw, what was really happening with my life.
Yeah, entrepreneurship, being your own boss is very interesting. A lot of people think because you are an entrepreneur, you're really your own boss, when really, as an entrepreneur, in my opinion, you have more bosses because the business becomes your boss. It actually dictates your day. And that's one of the things that a lot of us who are part-time entrepreneurs like myself, we have to juggle, how did you juggle, if I can just stay in that vein for a minute, how did you juggle corporate and entrepreneurship? Because you had a mission, for someone else, but for yourself, how did you juggle that?
So let's see. When we were actually like on site prior to the pandemic, I was doing a lot in the evenings for my personal business and ministry. Honestly, things really began to pick up during the pandemic. So for those who don't know, I am into health and wellness and fitness. And it's always been a part of my life, but in the last few years, it really became a priority. And this is where my health and wellness business was really birthed and, developed through my own personal goals and desires. So once the pandemic hit and I began to, and, everything shut down. So I think I had just renewed my membership with Planet Fitness and then everything shut down. And so I say, you know what? I have to really make a decision. Like, if I'm going to do this, nothing can stop me. And so doing my corporate America, 8:30 to 5, and then working on my business in the evenings and sometimes the weekends, I learned to juggle it that way. And then even when I took my lunch break from my corporate America job, I would work on my business during that time. And so, it just became a priority, and truthfully speaking, it is a bit taxing, but the outcome is so worth, the investment of our time. And so I just learned how to maneuver my schedule so that I was able to still, do what I needed to do for my business. So, but each day is different, right? Each day is different. So it really takes you being flexible to however your day is going to, lead you for that day.
Absolutely. I mean, that juggling, the part-time hustle that you didn't want to say hustle. I'll say hustle for you.
Okay.
That part-time hustle that you're trying to juggle, with the intention of it becoming your full-time is always kind of that. It's that tug of war, I think, that we go through, because you have that 9 to 5 that's always calling, and sometimes 9 to 5 call 6 and 7.
Yeah.
For me, I work in a pharmaceutical business, and so something goes wrong, 6 and 7 can happen before you know it.
Absolutely.
And so then you also have your with Dr. Ken, Lady Lenyar, who's coming on after you, talks about they always talk about how that 5 to 9. So you have 9 to 5 and 5 to 9, and how that 5 to 9 just also you have to put the same amount of energy into 5 to 9. So it's definitely a tussle.
Absolutely.
Let's see. So now you are a full-time entrepreneur.
Yes.
And I get to listen to you. I subscribe to your channel. So I've heard the story that you told us one time about you were going to take that first day off.
Yes. Yes.
Day off. So tell us, what gets you up every day and moves you, because now you can say, I'm going to take this day off if you want to. And, I'll just deal with the consequences. But what gets you up and keeps you moving now that you don't have someone saying it's time to get here?
Absolutely. I will say, number one, off the break, it is my passion for what I'm doing. I was in administration on my corporate job, and I was the executive assistant to the chief business officer. And so I arranged all his travel, all of his international meetings, all of his domestic meetings. I handled his corporate finances. And so while I am able to do that, and it became like just drinking water. Like it did not challenge me. I didn't have a passion for it per se. I just did it because that's what I was, on the job to do. But when I wake up now, not only do I love, helping people, motivating people, but it has become a passion for me, because, and, for those who don't know, my late husband passed away in June of 2020, and he had health challenges, and he was a senior leader, very passionate for the things of God, had a lot of dreams and goals and aspirations, but I saw him to a degree give up on himself. And so after seeing that whole transition and how his life went, the passion for me has been stirred even the more to really encourage and bring awareness to people that, listen, we do have the ability to meet the goals that we desire, even in our, health and wellness and fitness, And so what wakes me up in the morning is that passion to share the knowledge that I've learned. And even, in ministry, to teach, to preach, to pray. I have such a passion for people and seeing people live to their full potential. And so that's what wakes me up in the morning. And I believe this as well. People look at entrepreneurship as something that looks real easy because, to a degree, you can make your own schedule and, you can go run errands when you need to. But the reality is, what I have found out in my transition is that it is a lot of work, and you may end up putting in hours well beyond that 9 to 5 time. I literally have to pull myself away from my home office 7 o'clock and 8 o'clock. I have to remember to eat, because when you're in the mode of just working and doing what you do, you can forget, okay, I need to eat. Okay, I need to stop and spend some time with my daughter. Okay, I need to, and so it is the passion that really fuels me when a woman, can reach out and say, I was blessed by this or blessed by that, or I have a one-on-one with someone and they're like, oh, thank you for this information, or have a meal prep class and, people are like, oh my gosh, thank you for giving us this information. That's what fuels me.
Your time flies when you love what you're doing.
Yes.
It really does. I mean, and I've been there on the days when I have had my full day just to work in business, and time just flies because you have orders and you're creating something from yourself, and it's not something from anyone else. And when you begin to create, it just swallows you sometimes, literally swallows you whole, and you're like, oh my goodness, it's been 5 hours, it's been 6 hours, And so yeah, understand exactly what you're saying. Guys, I want you to understand something. Coach Nya is like our meal prep class, okay? I'm gonna do a shameless plug here. I have a 13-year-old daughter who loves to go to our meal prep class.
Oh, wow.
So if you guys need a meal prep class, I want you to go and subscribe to Nya Small on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram.
Yes.
And check her out, because this meal prep class, when a 13-year-old likes it, trust me, an adult can do it.
That's awesome.
Anyway, just want that one shameless plug. I try to make sure I do at least 1 to 2 for every guest, because they have taken their time to join us and give us such great information.
Absolutely.
Before we leave, because we are almost to our time, I would like you to tell that person who is in the valley of indecision right now, and they're not sure which way to go. I would like you to give them some inspiration and a little guidance on, what to do to make the final decision to go there, if you would.
Absolutely. So I know for myself, it took a lot of time to come to the decision to really shift into full-time entrepreneurship. But there are some things that I would really encourage you to keep in mind as you are moving in that direction. It's very imperative that whatever it is that you desire to do, it is definitely a passion and not just something that sounds good to you. Because the reality is, even as entrepreneurs, we will have difficult days. We may have difficult moments. Everything may not align every single week. And so it is the passion and the drive that must motivate you. So my first suggestion or guidance would be to make sure that whatever it is that you're desiring to do, it is a passion of yours, that you think about it throughout the day, that you get excited when you have the opportunity to operate in that area. Number 2, outside of passion, I believe that it's very vital to take a look at your finances, take a look at your necessities and what it is that you must pay for every month, and get yourself a good idea of what your expenses are per month. And as you are looking at your decision to shift, if you are still in, corporate America or whatever career you're in, and you're looking to shift from that into your full-time business, ask yourself, am I able to meet my monthly budget on what I bring in? I'm a proponent for walking, moving according to your passion, but I'm also a proponent of being realistic with your financial state. Because as I said, from week to week, your income may fluctuate. And so you may not get consistently everything that you expect every single week. So I would suggest not only that you look at your finances and then break them down by week to evaluate and see what you need to bring in every week to sustain yourself. And then try to have a cushion under you, a financial cushion before you make that move, so that you have some finances in the bank to sustain you for a few months, 3 to 6, so that when you experience, highs in the low entrepreneurship, that you are not stressed. So those are the most important components to me as you are deciding to make this decision. But I'm telling you, once you do it, it'll be the best decision for you as you move forward. So that is my guidance for you.
Thank you so much, Coach Nya. This has been a pleasure to have you share with us today. Again, thank you so much. Congratulations on your upcoming nuptials.
Thank you so
And we definitely hope to have you again.
much.
And so I'm going to say goodbye for now.
Okay, thank you so
And,
much for having me. I truly enjoyed myself.
oh, thank you. So, guys, wasn't that interview with Coach Nya great? Oh, my goodness. Look, we want to thank her for joining us. The information, oh, my goodness. Wow. Thank you, Coach Nya. It was great. Look, we really enjoyed everything that she shared with us. And we're not done yet. We have one more guest today who is also a serial entrepreneur in the person of Lady Lenyar Robinson. She is the co-pastor of Dream Life Worship Center. So sit back, keep your pens out. Here we go. Lady Lenyar Robinson.
Hi, Lydia. Hi there.
Hi, how are you?
I'm
Thank
good.
you for
How are you
joining
doing?
us. I'm good.
No
I'm
problem.
good.
Thank you for
Good.
having me. Thank you for having me.
You know, when I thought of entrepreneurs, I thought of all the lessons that I learned at Dream Life from you and
Hmm.
Dr. Ken.
Yeah.
And I made my first move into business one year when Dr. Ken said launch out. We were early at what Deer Park Lane. Deer Park
Hmm.
Road.
Hmm.
Deer Park Road, I
Park
believe,
Road.
right?
Hmm.
We were early there. I think we'd been there a few months, and he did a business conference. And he
Hmm.
said to launch out that everybody does not belong in the pulpit. We belong in the seven mountains.
Yes.
And so I launched my first business that year because you guys are definitely my inspiration when it comes down to business and everything.
Hmm.
You guys have been so inspiring. I'm talking a lot because I'm so
It's
excited that you're
okay.
here.
Thank you.
I'm so excited
Thank
that
you. That means a lot. It means a lot. Thank you for
um,
sharing.
you know, guys, if you don't know Lady Pastor Lenyar Robinson, I don't know which one to call her today, but if you don't know her, please, you have to. She's a firehouse. She's a fireball, but she's
Oh,
a
thanks.
businesswoman, guys, a real businesswoman, like real businesswoman. Lady Lenyar, can you tell us about your business?
Wow. Well, have a little history with that. I've always goes back to 1990 actually, when I was a young lady, and of course I did the path of college. But to be quite honest with you, I never worked in my area, my area of degree, because I was always in this entrepreneurial space. I certainly didn't call it that back then. I didn't know to call it that. I just knew I did not want to be in a cubicle in the office all day, every day. Of course, my parents, like many parents in my generation of parents, they were not college grads, but they did have lifelong careers. My father had a lifelong career with, some people listening may be familiar with McDonnell Douglas, which is now known as Boeing, but he had a lifelong career with Boeing. He worked on the assembly line, airplane parts and things of that nature. And he worked for years, retired from them very, very well. He's doing very, very, very well, even in retirement. And then my mother, she retired from the government, just as in like a support staff, admin, made a lifelong career out of that, and made herself a very comfortable retirement. They were not college grads, they were not entrepreneurs, but you know that generation. You get a job, you stay on the
Yes.
job, you buy your house, you stay in your house, you live in the city, you stay in your city.
Right.
Well, I don't know how my genes came together with them two, but something in me was like, nah, I ain't getting ready to do that. So when I graduated from high school, I really didn't have much of a choice but to go to college, and I did that. And I went for human services. That was my degree area, which is also known as social services. But as soon as I graduated, I went to cosmetology school because that's what I wanted to do in the first place. Although a degree, I had to get that. Went to cosmetology school, finished that in less than a year. And before you know it, I was co-owning a beauty salon with my best girlfriend, who is still my best girlfriend to this day. And we owned a beauty salon together. I did that. I love that. I still hold my license, even though I'm not behind the chair. I renew it every 2 years. I do my continued education because I'm just like, I'm gonna hold on to it. If I have to do a roller set, I'm gonna do a roller set, right? And not long after being in that business, a few years, I had the opportunity to work for the airline. For the airline, I worked in their diversity training. At that time, it was Northwest Airlines. I think that it is Delta Airlines now. But at that time, they were looking for young people and with my degree, I went into the diversity training to show them just kind of like etiquette, how to deal with different, backgrounds of people and things like that. With that, I could fly all over the world for free most of the time. So I was in that for some years. I was like, I'm out of here. When that settled down and I began my having children and getting married, I never went back into an office setting. By that time, I was in my mind, I was free and I did not want to be locked into anything. And so I always found ways to do my own thing. So over the years, I've owned a salon. I've worked in the salon as an independent contractor. That evolved to a boutique. I bought a purchase. My first purchase was I bought a boutique from a lady who I used to shop with all the time. I shopped with her all the time. I got to know her, the owner. This was many years ago. And when I found out she was marrying and relocating, it was an opportunity for me to purchase her boutique, which is what I did. That was back in, I want to say like 2004 or so. Purchased that boutique and loved it. Fell in love with it. Always have been loving beautiful clothes, beautiful shoes. Always have, as long as I can remember. Kindergarten picture, I had on ruffles and bows. And so that was my introduction to that. It's like I've always been doing entrepreneurial stuff all of my life. And then so a couple years ago, I decided to, of course, I married Dr. Ken, relocated to Maryland. I sold that boutique. And then a couple years ago, I decided to circle back to reopen the boutique. And so right at the pandemic, I launched Sheba Boutique. Okay. Sheba Boutique, my brainchild. I loved it. What I have found out, Lydia, is when you do something that you love, it doesn't feel like work as much as doing something that you don't love.
Yep.
And so I launched it right before the pandemic. I took a hiatus, as you know, for 2 years. I've still continue to do private shopping for some of my clients. The pandemic kind of slows things down. The launching of our second location of Dream Life in Dallas slowed things down from that. But I'm going to reopen in October with Sheba Boutique in Dallas and Baltimore. So that's what I'm doing right now, Sheba Boutique. It is when I relaunch, it is my brand, my designs, my own Sheba label clothing. So.
Wow. So they're your own design. So now you're a designer.
Yeah.
And a hairdresser and a business owner. Guys, I want you to understand she's a serial entrepreneur, not just, one stream. That's one of the things you guys will teach us is that you should have multiple streams. So it's not just one thing she does. She does multiple things.
Yeah.
Lady, that is awesome. That is awesome.
I'm excited about it.
Yes. I mean, that's why you guys are such inspirations because you never stop.
Yeah. And you know what? I'll say this too, Lydia, and you know this from being under Dr. Ken's Dream Life teaching for so many years. This is something that, sometimes we don't like to hear, but ministry is business as well. Absolutely. You work behind the scenes in ministry. It's business as well. And so even as an ordained minister, that's another part of my life that has a business side as well. And so all of my life, it's been business. People say ministry is not business, but it really is. Because when you come in there and you sit in them lights and that heat and that air conditioning, and you rave over all of these great speakers that we bring in from around the world, it is a business side to it too. So yeah, that's what I'm doing, and that's just the way it is. I think these days there are so many ways to do business that were not available when I first started. So many ways to market. I remember when I first bought that first boutique I mentioned to you, we were doing mail outs. We were doing mailers.
Okay.
You know, cards to the residents around the area. I'm like, you don't even have to do that anymore.
Nope.
All you got to do is get out there and do your free stuff. I mean, there are things you can pay to expand, but there's so many free ways to be in business and get yourself out there.
Yep, absolutely. You know, it's funny because we did used to get our mail, and you know, when you get the mail, you have these little things, and it has all these cards in it from all the businesses around. Now you get a few things. Usually, it's for the roof.
Yeah.
You don't have the good stuff that we used to get.
Right.
Now
exactly.
You're gonna see it on Facebook as an ad coming past you.
Exactly.
You know?
It's true.
Yeah, it's different. Business is different. It's more accessible to everyone now.
I agree.
Where before it kind of seemed like you couldn't accomplish things. And this is the thing, because of being at Dream Life, I understand that even then there was a way to accomplish, because Dr. Kim would always give us these tools that would tell you how you could accomplish the next step.
Absolutely.
Even at that time, you know, he had I'll never forget, he had one on network marketing. And it was interesting because we were trying to figure out, everybody's like, oh, he always talking about doing a business. What business are we going to do? And he bought in network marketing. He had a business conference where he bought in how to trade Forex. You know, get yourself out there. You need to get cash for your business. You trade Forex, you get good at that, and then you have money to go into the next business that you want to do. You know, guys, this is not a plug for Dream Life, but it probably gonna end up being one. If you are trying, you know, if you're looking for a church that is oriented to push you into your destiny, not just spiritually, because a lot of churches, they only stuck on the spiritual man.
It's true.
They don't think about the well-rounded man. Dream Life is one of those places that does that. I mean, really, I learned so much when I was there. It was home. It still is home when I'm in Maryland. When I can't get by, because now, you know, I was explaining to you, lady, earlier. Now, even when I come to Maryland, I am pulled every which way between family and business.
Working those streams.
Exactly.
But you know what, Lydia? I saw something that somebody posted on social media, which made me feel so blessed. What you're saying about Dream Life, they were talking about, and you probably seen similar posts about how churches now need to talk about life insurance, and they need to show people how to live, and they need to show people how to manage their money, and they need to show people and I'm saying we have been doing that. You know, that's something that's just been, and it never took away from discipleship. It never took away from spiritual growth. I think that Dream Life has one of the most charged spiritual atmospheres, worship and discipleship and all of that stuff. I mean, you can fall out under the power of God, but when you get up, you gotta have some gas money to put in your car.
You got that right. Absolutely.
So I agree. It is a blessed environment, and my husband is, of course, this, you know, shameless plug because he's mine, but he's a trailblazer. He is an amazing teacher when it comes to kingdom thought, a thought leader, kingdom finance, kingdom entrepreneurship. So I appreciate that about him creating an environment as well, Lydia.
Yeah, it's been, you know, being an entrepreneur it's not for the faint of heart. And you know, that is one of the things that a lot of times people say, oh, I'm going into business, and you just jump in. But if you don't jump in with a plan, then you jump out as quickly as you jump in. Right. Lady, I would love it if you could tell us what pushes you to continue, because I know it's not always the Cloud9 environment for any of us. But so what pushes you to continue in entrepreneurship and multiple streams of income? I'm sure the money does, but that thing that says, hey, let's get out of bed today, let's do this again.
A couple of things. Of course, the freedom to kind of create my own schedule, because as you know, as a parent, you know, and as someone who cares for other people like you do and like I do, the freedom to create your own schedule gives you the ability to be available and to be present for whether it be your children, your parents. I know you care for your parents and your grandma, children, your parents. For me, the people who I lead, it gives me the ability to be present for them and to prepare to minister to them too. It gives me that, I don't have to be in the office all day and I can't work on my message. I can't pray. I can't see God. So the freedom to create my own schedule so that I can be available for the people I love the most. That's the first one. Of course, the financial freedom. You want that money to keep coming in so that you can, again, do the things you want to do in life and create a legacy.
Right.
And then thirdly, it's the people, the freedom to be there for people I love. Secondly, is to create that legacy, that money, to make the money. And then thirdly, it is I think that when you're in business, there, especially as a believer, there's a huge element of what you're doing impacting people's lives. And so for me, even though it may not be everybody's thing, for me in a boutique business and a beauty business, it really does impact people's lives. Because what I know about women, I'm speaking for women, I'm sure men too, when you look better, you feel better.
Oh, absolutely.
When you feel better, you show up better. When you're more confident, you can do things with confidence that you can't do with low self-esteem. And even though it is a boutique where, I'm dressing ladies and I'm showing them how to show up better so they can feel better, so they can do better. So it's the impacting too. It's really keeping that, being in a space where you can impact people's lives for positive.
Yeah, definitely. Entrepreneurship, even I know one of the things that we used to learn a lot about was saving for generations, not just for your children, but for your children's children. Making that commitment that I will leave something behind. Dr. King always use that scripture about the legacy part.
Yeah.
Just, because sometimes we do things just for ourselves, but the other part of it is that you have generations that are coming behind you and you want to make sure. And so that's a great answer. Thank you so much. Because, for me, I think with the whole entrepreneur thing right now, and I still do both. And so, my time is, you have a certain amount of time that you owe to the man. And then you do your entrepreneurships. Sometimes on the side, it seems like, but that I seek to one day do full-time entrepreneurship. So this is good for me. This is good for me while we're talking about this.
Absolutely. And Dr. Ken says this all the time. You have your 9 to 5, but your purpose and your passion is tied up in that 5 to 9.
5 to 9.
Yeah.
Yep. Let's see, because I had some other questions. Let's see. On your, what is your favorite day? No, we talked about that already. I want to make sure I get good stuff that we can share. What would be a tip that you would give for young entrepreneurs out here, our millennials and after? Because we have, as older people, and I don't want to say we're old, that's not what I'm saying, but as more seasoned people, sometimes a lot of us know how to plan and how to make a good decision for our next step. But we have a lot of young people out here, and young people today, more than any other day, I've seen so many young people are looking to go into full-time entrepreneurship. They are not for the 9 to 5 slave ship, because that's really what it is. It's the 9 to 5 slave ship. They're not for it. What would be your advice to those young people who say, I never want to work for anyone? Because you've done that actual thing.
Yes. Get a good accountant. Get some understanding on taxes, business taxes. And a good accountant really can do that for you. Because here's the thing. As we were talking about ways in which you can do business, we weren't doing Cash App back in the day. Like, you know what? Like, how much is your thing? Oh, just Cash App me $20. Okay, that 20 here, that 100 here, that 400 here on Cash App. That's fine, but that's not going to be able to get you a house when you get ready to go get a house, because it's not documented. It's not. So you have to get a good accountant. So even though you're making your moves and you're growing your business by marketing and social media and even pop-ups or whatever it is that you do, Get a good accountant so you can establish a financial history. And I think a lot of times, because business is so much easier to get out there, and it's so many more easier ways to receive payments, Zelle, Venmo, PayPal, Cash App. I know they've changed up some of their regulations here lately as well. But as an entrepreneur, get a hold to your taxes. Make sure you're creating a financial history so that you can be able to go out and buy a home, get a car, buy a townhome. If not, it's just cash under the table. And unless you're going to pay cash for something, for a house or for a car, it's like you don't have any financial history. So that's the biggest thing. Get a good accountant so you can get a good understanding on how that money comes and goes out of your business.
Absolutely. Because, yeah, like you said, a lot of us, we want houses, but if you're not prepared with the proper paperwork,
that's right.
The proper paperwork, Dr. King used to really drill that in.
Yes.
Proper paperwork, you do not have a business, you have a hobby.
Absolutely.
And so, yes. That was priceless. Thank you. Because a lot of our viewers, if they don't view now, they view later. And they're working on being business owners, and the paperwork is major.
Yes.
Because that paperwork says I can walk into a room and I'm actually an entrepreneur with the evidence.
With the receipts, as they say.
With the receipts, yeah.
Yes.
We might say evidence. They say receipts.
Yeah.
But you need those receipts
It's
to
true.
make sure that when you walk into a room, you not just look like who you are. You have those receipts to back it up.
It's true.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
definitely. So we are almost done. But I think I have one more question. And my last question would be, juggling, and I don't think it's a juggle for you. I've
yes,
known you
it
for a while
is.
now. Is it? Okay. Then I'm gonna say a juggling then. Juggling family, ministry, and business. What is your biggest tip? No, yeah, family, ministry, and what is your biggest tip for that? Because that can be a deal breaker in some ways. So what is your biggest tip for that?
Oh boy, that's loaded, Lydia. For me, I would say prioritizing. I hate to use the word in the moment, because I don't want entrepreneurs to look at it and wait to the last minute to schedule out things. But in real time, as a person who has, and most people do, have families and other responsibilities, you have to really prioritize. I'm going to say week by week what is most important. That's the only way. There are times where my children need me more than other times. They need me being present, whether it's for them emotionally or whether it's to take them places or to be at events. So that's going to prioritize me being in a certain physical space other than other times. There are times when the ministry needs me more. I have a speaking engagement. I have a meeting. I'm getting ready to I'm starting my planning for Flossom. That's going to, because Flossom is coming back in October. So that's going to take precedence over some of my personal business stuff. So the juggle is really looking at your responsibilities. For some people, that's week by week. For me, it's really week by week, and saying, this week, this is going to take priority over this. Another time, when my children are in school, I got one going to college, when Dr. Ken is away traveling, when it's just me, when I'm not preaching this Sunday, maybe Dr. Ken is preaching, then Sheba stuff is coming up here because I don't have those other responsibilities. So really you have to prioritize however your schedule's set up, whether it's month to month. I tried month to month, but too much stuff changes up for me in 30 days. So really I look at the top of my week, and that's how I prioritize what's going to take precedence over the other. In an ideal world, I've gotten it all done at the end of the week, but not for real. Some weeks you just don't. Yeah. But you have to prioritize what needs you the most in that week or that month. That's how you do it.
Definitely.
Mm-hmm.
I understand that, especially as women. You know, this channel is geared towards women.
Mm-hmm.
And ladies, understand what she's saying. We have to, and I'm saying we because I'm still learning this prioritize thing
Mm-hmm.
myself. But we have to really, really. It takes some organization to prioritize.
Yeah. And you know what? If you have a team, if you have anybody that works with you or for you, and learning how to delegate. One thing I've learned about delegating, not only in ministry and in business, is sometimes we delegate and we take for granted that they know how to carry out what we've delegated. Then you end up doing it again. You probably have said this, if I just got to do it myself, I'm just gonna have to do it myself.
All the time.
Well, not if you show them how. If you got a good team of people that you're working with and you show them how, you cast your vision, you show them by example. So delegating is important if you have anybody to share those responsibilities with, and also taking care of you. You said this is a women's channel.
Yes,
Taking
ma'am.
care of yourself, man. You have to do it. It could because on your 9 to 5, they're gonna replace you if something happens to you.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And you have to just take care of you, your health as an entrepreneur, as an employee, as an employer, as a leader. You have to pay attention to yourself, and you got to know when to fall back too. Hey, I'll be back next week, or I'll be back next month. So yeah, for sure.
Thank you. Thank you, lady, for
Mm-hmm.
joining us today. Guys, so Lady Lenyar is one of the most fiery female preachers I know. I have to tell you
Oh
that
my God.
she is no. You know, I've told you this yourself. I've said this to you, so it's not something that you don't know how I feel. Um,
Yes.
she is definitely one of the most fiery female preachers that I know. But she's also very anointed. So if you're looking for someone to speak, Lady is the one. You wanna send some fire through your
Uh,
congregation, call her. You need something to wear. I mean, you can see just from the small picture that we have here, she's very fashionable. Okay, so reach out. We're going to have all of her information right at the bottom of the screen where you can reach her. But, lady, if you want to give them a quick snippet of where they can reach you, please do so now.
Yeah, you know what? Thank you, Lydia. First of all, thank you for your kind words. I appreciate that. You can reach me at Pastor Lenyar at dreamlifewc.com. You can go to dreamlifewc and see how to contact me if you can't remember that. My business is shebaboutique.com, and that's on Instagram and Facebook, or you can just kind of Google us and find us. And but I appreciate that. I love ministry. I love ministry. If I had to choose between doing business and doing ministry, it would definitely be ministry because I love God's people. But I think my business is a ministry too. I think every believer, in many aspects, our business is ministry too. So thank you so much. I look forward to connecting with some of your viewers.
Thank you, lady. And we pray that Sheba, what is it, Maryland
Sheba
and
Boutique,
Texas.
yeah.
Sheba, Maryland and Texas, guys. She got 2 locations. Sheba, Maryland and Texas. Blast off, like the rocket that it is. And thank you again for joining us. And I pray
Nope.
that you do
Thank you for
wonderful.
having me, Lydia. I'll talk to you soon.
All righty.
Bye-bye.
Are you full? Wow, I am. The information shared today was priceless. You know, many times we're out here, we're planning to start a business, we're deciding which way to go next. We work for somebody else. Sometimes entrepreneurship is calling us. We're doing our side hustle and we want to move to full-time entrepreneurship. Today, we receive the tools to move forward. So if you're out there and you are trying to figure it out, I hope this information gave you some direction to move forward. Full-time entrepreneurship, being an entrepreneur, period, full-time or as a side hustle, being an entrepreneur, period, is so rewarding. And it's really a way to build up yourself, your confidence, and your family. Entrepreneurship moves us forward and helps us to leave a legacy for years to come, for our children and our children's children. Thank you again for joining us once more on the Lioness Den. We will see you next time. you.